Hey everyone, and welcome. I'm Jake Sanders, content marketing manager and host of the NinjaCat podcast, What Gets Measured. I'm excited to have you all here with us today to explore how AI agents can scale your team's impact. Let's talk briefly about NinjaCat. We're here to make life easier for agencies by connecting marketing data, automating reporting, and delivering insights at scale. And now, with AI agents, we're taking that mission to another level. AI agents, what are they? They're purpose-built assistants designed to simplify repetitive tasks like data aggregation, campaign optimization, so your team can focus on what really matters. During today's webinar, we'll cover three main things: the what and the why. What are AI agents and why are they a game changer in marketing? We'll go over the proof. You'll hear a real-world success story from our guest speaker, Mindy Buckalew from Cox Media Group, about their AI agent journey with NinjaCat. And then we'll go over the how to start thinking about use cases for agents in your agency and how we're building them in NinjaCat. We will leave time for Q&A, so please drop your questions into the box, and we'll answer as many as we can at the end. We also want this to be interactive, so let's start by understanding where you see AI making the biggest impact. It's a poll. Which AI capability is most valuable to your agency? I'll give everybody some seconds to answer. The answers are coming. Oh, people are, whoa. I wasn't ready for this. I'm looking at it change in real time. It's looking like data analysis is one of the big ways that we can make AI valuable for agencies. That's amazing. And you know, whether you're deep into AI or you're just dipping your toes in, today's sessions will give you actionable insight to amplify your team's impact with AI agents. Get rid of that. So let's talk about the challenges that agencies face. You've likely experienced some of these. Think of it as kind of an agency challenges bingo card. Even as AI moves from buzzword to business critical tools, scaling processes and maintaining quality of service remain significant hurdles for most agencies. Sure, many of you have streamlined your data management and reporting, but there's something else. Manual bottlenecks still slow the team down. Analysts are stuck customizing reports, chasing down anomalies, and manually piecing together insights. And those insights take too long to surface. Even with centralized data, identifying trends and opportunities often feels like searching for a needle in a haystack. And teams are stretched thin. The volume of work keeps growing faster than your team can handle, no matter how advanced your tech stack is. If this sounds familiar, you might just be checking off squares on your challenges bingo card. But here's the good news. These challenges aren't permanent. They're exactly what AI agents are designed to overcome, so let's dive into how they can help. Time for another poll. What is your biggest AI implementation challenge? The options are skill gaps, data quality, team resistance, time constraints. Very interesting to see the ones that are coming out front. This is so exciting to see this. I'm sorry, I have not seen this. This is amazing. I feel like I'm at the center of the mother brain. So it seems like skills gaps is almost first on that list. I appreciate you engaging with that. All of this will come into play later. But let's move on to, that's good that skills gaps are there because boy, you're in the right webinar. Let's go over what AI agents are. NinjaCat AI agents are purpose-built assistants designed to work on top of your unified data, automating repetitive, time-consuming tasks. They're powered by AI models like GPT-4, integrated with advanced tools, and fine-tuned with marketing-specific agency-curated techniques and training. I mean, just imagine if you had an AI assistant that could pull data from multiple platforms and prepare a client-ready report in minutes. What if there was an AI assistant that could identify underperforming PPC keywords and automatically refine your campaigns? What if you could highlight key trends and anomalies in real time so you can focus on strategy and not putting out fires? Well, this isn't science fiction. It's the reality agencies are living today with NinjaCat AI agents. So let's talk about why they're such a game changer. Here at NinjaCat, we believe AI agents are about solving three issues: making money, saving money, and mitigating risk. And here we have three examples of how our AI agents address these issues. If you're interested in making money, Expansion Opportunities Eric is an agent that finds high-performing campaigns limited by budget to help focus on expansion opportunities and boost ROI. If you want to save some of that money, Negative Keyword Nancy is an agent that optimizes PPC campaigns by eliminating wasteful ad spend. And if you want to mitigate risk, Ad Copy Compliance Carla is an agent that works with agencies that have strict compliance guidelines from brands reviewing ad copy for anomalies at scale. By automating these very specific tasks, AI agents really can free your team to focus on strategic and valuable work, scaling your impact without stretching your team. At NinjaCat, we've developed a proven approach to building AI agents by combining powerful AI models, integrated tools, and high-quality data. This framework helps agencies like yours move from experimenting with AI to transforming your operations. We'll cover this in detail later. And now that we've covered the what and the why behind AI agents, let's bring this to life with a real-world example. I'm thrilled to introduce our guest speaker, Mindy Buckalew, VP of Digital Business Operations at Cox Media Group, joined by our CEO and co-founder, Paul Deraval. They're going to review how CMG implemented NinjaCat's AI agents to tackle operation challenges. And at the end, we'll open the floor for Q&A. So a reminder, please feel free to drop your thoughts into the question box as we go. Mindy and Paul, over to you.
Thank you so much. Fantastic intro, Jake. Mindy, thank you so much for joining us, and let's jump right in. So, can you share with us more about your role at Cox Media and your journey with NinjaCat, specifically, where you started and where you are at now with some of these objectives?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited about it. As they said, I'm Mindy Buckalew. I'm the VP of Digital Operations at Cox Media Group. We are a radio, a TV, and digital media company here. Been in business for over 100 years, and trying to figure out how to grow in the media industry and how to innovate, sort of reimagine the way that we're all doing our work to become more efficient, to focus more on sales and our customers. And so enter NinjaCat. We were looking for a new dashboarding solution for our digital clients, and NinjaCat quickly sort of rose to the top of the list of partners we were vetting for a couple of reasons. The first of which being just the look and the feel of the actual reporting tool and the dashboards, the fact that it could be client facing and we could send links out, it's in real time. They have done a fantastic job building out native connections as well as smart connectors. And so we offer a lot of digital products to our clients, and this was one of the only solutions that we could actually pull in from pretty much all of them to give our clients a holistic view of everything that they're running with us. So that got underway, I want to say maybe 9 months ago on that front. Spent plenty of time with the NinjaCat team. They really held our hand through the entire process. We serve anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 clients a month. So that's a lot of data and a lot of information and a lot of QAing that needed to be done to ensure that our reporting and then the subsequent client-facing dashboards were correct. Made it through that. And as part of that build, we started to explore with NinjaCat's AI Copilot. And that became high interest relatively quickly with the group. The teams in the markets are now using the reporting tools in many markets that have really leaned in. They're saving anywhere between 3 and 5 days of reporting time, which is a lot. So that allows the digital headcount in our radio and TV markets to be more client facing, to spend more time figuring out how to upsell opportunities there. And so that was a game changer kind of coming out of the gate. So then we said, well, I wonder what this AI Copilot can do for us, and can it take that yet to the next level. And so we just sort of started playing around with that and saw some initial positive results that we thought we might actually be able to really do something here with that. So talked more to the NinjaCat team. we actually don't have anyone on staff that is sort of an AI expert. What we do have is a manager of digital analytics who's just started to sort of self-teach himself how to prompt. And so he got going and started running. And then we decided that what we probably needed to do was back up a little bit and really assess the situation and where do we think that we could put this to use? Where can we get the most out of it? And so grabbed the internal teams on the execution side and our elite analytics team that services our biggest and best clients to sort of diagnose their day and where is their time being spent, to pinpoint a couple of areas that we thought would be good test cases, and then came back to Paul and team with some, hey, we'd like to test these two, and they were nice enough to let us into their beta program, and kind of off we went.
And I think what's interesting, our learning journey together through all this AI stuff is kind of pioneering, you know, what are the capabilities, what are the edge cases, what can it do, what can it not do, what can it do today, what might it be able to do, you know, next year or 2 years from now. And it's been so fun pioneering. And our journey from a product perspective is, you know, we need to get an AI game. So we got in there first with a co-pilot, right? That was basically like a conversational assistant, ask a question of your data and get an answer. And we put out there very, very early in the game, early last year, and just saw how our customers were using it. And we saw that it was being used to answer like very basic questions, right? Why are there anomalies in my data? What about this account, right? And we're like, oh, that's really neat, but is it transformational? And then what we realized speaking with you and some of our other customers is like the real transformational AI comes from the ability from not just having a generalist co-pilot, but these specialist agents that are fine-tuned to perform a very specific task incredibly well in a consistent manner. So we realized that, you know, again, Copilot was a great entry point for AI for our own product and for our customers, but then we saw the edges of that when you gave it a plan. Sometimes it was a little bit random in its plans, and we're like, no, we needed to always, you know, follow these specific steps in a certain way. And then that was the advent of AI agents at NinjaCat, right? And then there just became an exploding what we call a world of possibilities, or we say the art of possible, like, holy crap, as we'll show today in our demo, we can build these agents that, you know, can help you make money, save money, mitigate risk. And that really ties into what we call the NinjaCat One vision, which is agency has so many different jobs to be done. We started with that reporting job to be done, help you, you know, prove value to your customers so you retain and expand with them. And that's, you know, dashboarding, push reporting. But then the other jobs we were focused on as part of that vision is, well, what's next? Well, it's a set of tools to help them monitor. How do you handle more accounts with fewer people? How do you eliminate mistakes? That monitoring job to be done. And then there was another job to be done closely related to reporting, but very nuanced, which is more about data exploration, right? Client reporting is great data storytelling, but the analyze and optimize is about a set of tools that help you and your team dig through the data, unearth useful insights that are going to help you make better decisions on behalf of your business or on behalf of your client's business. So, you know, as we talked about agents and, you know, my excitement for other stuff we went to, are like, yeah, these things, we think they can do anything. Like, where do we start? So can you help us, like, just take us through your process of knowing, okay, lots of things are possible, making money, saving money, mitigating risk. And then and we said, we don't want to pick something that's like a shiny object toy. What would be transformational? So can you help us, you know, through your thinking process of like, where do we start on this journey of experimentation with AI agents?
Yeah, sure. So we gathered the teams that were going to potentially be involved. And so we've got execution teams that are in fulfilling search and social and programmatic. And then we've got an elite analytics team that is a second layer of sort of white glove service for our largest accounts. They're heavy in CM360, GA4. They're really looking in an omni-channel way and what's going on with the client spend in total, making recommendations, making sure everything is okay, telling the story, all of those things. So we sat with the teams, we had them do time studies, we had them write down where they're feeling pain points, where are the bottlenecks that they're running into, what tasks are showing up across those teams time and time again that add up to real hours at the end of a week or a month, depending on how long you look at what's going on. And are there places that automation or an agent could really, really impact the team to allow them to turn focus to the client. You have all these levers to pull and you have all this data to analyze and all of these things you have to do. But if you could use an agent or many agents to do a lot of that work for you, so that you can be focused on having a conversation with a client, upselling, making recommendations. You should move your money here instead of here. Have you thought about this? Those sorts of things. Then you're doing many things. You're potentially bringing in incremental revenue. You are almost certainly increasing your retention of those accounts, right? Because you're taking better care of them. You're making better strategic recommendations. And then the agents in the background are catching what could be a mistake, something dropped. And we'll talk a little bit about one of the agents that we built for that reason. And so now you're super serving the client. And those are the ones that tend to stay longer. And so that's where we focused. We got excited and wanted to build 20 of them. And we had to reel ourselves in and say, we're going to start with one and get one kind of walking, and then we'll start a second one. And then we're going to just sit and we're going to work it through and get the two working we'll kind of well and in use, and then we'll move on to 3 and 4. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Amazing. So yeah, I love the spirit of what you're trying to do, which is, automate the monotonous so your teams can really focus on the meaningful, right? And this is the technology that enables us to do that and maximize the human potential. So you started with Pixie, right? So can you tell us more about Pixie?
Yeah,
what is it?
We started with 2. One was Search Sally and CM360 Pixie. CM360 Pixie is this elite analytics team that I was talking about. They do a lot of work in CM360. There's a lot of tagging going on for these large accounts. And we had the team, and it's a small team, a mighty team, but small. And we really wanted to be able to monitor 200 of these large accounts all of the time to make sure that the tags are firing properly. If a tag is not and something goes dark, that you're catching it and it's not sitting dark, for 2, 3, 4 days. We really don't like getting a phone call inbound that the client caught something ahead of us catching something, for all of the obvious reasons. But we didn't have enough people to check all of these campaigns for all of these clients on a daily basis. And so CM360 was born to do that for us, so that we can pay attention and run Pixie every single day for all of the clients, and what would take us hours and hours and hours to dig in for just about 50 clients, we can now do for 100, 200. If we onboard more, you just add them in, and it runs in about 10 minutes, and then you just have to kind of scan through the results. It detects any kind of abnormal behavior. It detects if impressions were served yesterday but the day before, but then went dark yesterday. And then if something goes dark, Pixie also will run a report for us to isolate which piece of creative it's attached to. So again, instead of us digging through hundreds of campaigns and pieces of creative, it's literally just circling it, like, here's where your problem is, for the team to dive in to diagnose what it is. If they can fix it, and if they went down and the tag stopped working because the client made a change to their website and forgot to tell us, which happens from time to time, that we are making the phone call to the market, to the client, saying, hey, we noticed this, not the reverse.
Amazing. So just looking at the results here, just to recap some of like the before and after here, it looks like, before you had this agent CM360 Pixie, like you said, you want to super serve your clients, right? But this was a very time-consuming task. So what's interesting about this is, as we always been thinking and having these conversations of how can we help you, make money, save money, mitigate risk with these agents, there's actually 2 wins that it feels like you have here with CM360. Yes, it reduces the amount of time, which lots of people think of that as time savings, right? Like if I have these tools that allow our teams to be more efficient, we could reduce hours. And that's one way to measure success. Efficiencies, we do this type of task and we do it less, we spend less hours doing that. You actually, instead of trying to just reduce the amount of hours doing that task, it looks like you wanted to do that task more, bring it to a wider set of customers and do it more frequently. So the impact here is really an elevation of service to your clients while at the same time mitigating risk, right? Because if you don't find this, then you have egg on your face if you had to wait uh, days and or weeks, right, to identify this issue before the customer did. So I find that really interesting is kind of the double win. And is it time savings versus another more important measure of impact is doing this task more.
Yeah, and the daily checks mean we catch it. And so it might be dark for 18 hours, 24 hours. And then it shows up immediately. And so the team being able to do this on a daily basis is just helpful to the clients. It also doesn't take very long. So instead of digging and thrashing around for hours on end, it's just there. And then they can move on to something else. And with this team in particular, they are fantastic about sort of that omni-channel recommendation in front of the client. And they get to spend more time doing that because they're not doing and worried about this piece.
It's so good. And can you just take us through a little bit like highlights of the deployment strategy, right? Like how you built this, and then at what point did you roll it out to just like a small group first or a larger group? Just what did that look like, and what were any lessons learned in deploying your first agent into the wild?
Yeah, and this one, it's a very small team of 4 or 5 people, and brought the manager and the senior most strategist in to actually build. And so we had our manager of analytics actually start the agent build in Copilot. So he was in prompting and writing and trying to get Copilot to do everything we wanted it to do as a way for him to learn. And we passed it to Megan on the NinjaCat side, who actually started to build the agent, and then she would pass it back. And we had the people who are doing the work, doing the testing, because who better to do the testing than the people that have to use the thing. And so it took, I'd say, 6 to 8 weeks, I think, of back and forth, and no, not this, that, we need to change this, we're getting this result, but it's pointing to the wrong field. We prompted it incorrectly, meaning we used some term and it really needs to be this term. Like, you just kind of have to go through that.
It is a process, right? It's like, we'll show today how to build them, but it is a process. It's like training an employee how to do a task and, having it experiment, do the task, and then tell it, no, do it better next time, right? Because these things, start off wrong, essentially, is what your default needs to be. And like, how do you just make them less wrong by pointing them and steering them in the right direction till they cross that threshold of being less wrong to like almost always right or always right.
Yeah, and it was just sort of back and forth and back and forth. And I think the thing is you just set it up that way with the team on the front end. This thing doesn't come out of the box perfect. You have to work at it, and you kind of just have to keep chipping away at it. And let's don't get frustrated. We will get it there. Just kind of go. And really, in the grand scheme, 6 to 8 weeks to have a thing that then does in 10 minutes what could take 4 or 5 hours over, day after day after day. That's a lot. That's a big change for a 6 to 8 week project, if you want to call it that. So we had the buy-in of the manager and the senior most strategist on the team because they were the ones that built it. They named it. We didn't name it. They're like, what do you want to call it? And so, but I think all of that is buy-in. And so when we rolled it out to the final team members, they were just like, where is it? We're ready to go. We're ready to go. And they just jumped in, the whole team immediately and off and running. And they've been using it for several weeks now. And now we're talking about how can we take that agent and do the same thing for the same team for search and for social, since this one's focused on CM 360. And so that work now is in queue and kind of beginning underway there. So this was kind of best case scenario, I would say, from an adoption. Do you want me to talk about Sally a little?
I think so. Basically, this was one that you built, deployed, it's in the wild, and check mark it's successful, and now you're eager to build the next one. So I know the other the other two that are in training, if you will, right now on your team. I understand is Search Query Sally and an expansion Eric, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and expansion, Eric, is really, really new, and that actually is not operations focused. It's more sales and sales support focused. And so just sort of in initial meetings now, we're going to have to pull market people in on that one to make sure that as we're prompting and refining that it's doing what they need it to do, because this is much more about the roles we have sitting in all of our radio and TV markets who are responsible for driving revenue.
Which is, this is in that bucket of make money now. So we got to check, you know, as we advocate, is like find an agent use case to help you make money, save money, mitigate risk, get a win in each one of those, an easy win, and then you can expand upon those different use cases. So the expansion, Eric, my understanding is being trained to dig through all of the data, find all the high-performing campaigns limited by budget, for example, and then surface some of those insights and recommendations to your client-facing teams, which they can use to either like draft an email or it can even draft it for you. But that's the gist I understand of this agent, is make it so much easier for those sellers to find these opportunities and distribute a helpful, insightful, convincing message to their customers that they should spend more.
Yes, correct. And we're in week 1.5 on that one, so much more to come. If you have a Q1 webinar, maybe we'll check back in and give you.
Amazing, yeah. Can't wait to do the before and after on that one. That makes
That's
money
right.
and showing dollar signs. And then search query salary, I think, is one that you got even further in as well. Can you tell us about what was the problem you were trying to solve with that one? And
yeah, so we have an internal search team that's executing hundreds and hundreds of search campaigns every single month. And they go through a relatively lengthy and manual monthly process for each one of our search accounts to analyze all of the keywords in the account and which ones are not performing, what keywords out there are performing, do we need to add, do we need to delete, what do we need to do? And the time tracking showed for our larger accounts, it was about 4 hours a month it took. The smaller accounts, not so much, because the keyword lists and phrases were obviously lower at that point, but estimating an 1.5 to 2 hours there. So multiply that by hundreds. And that's a lot of time being spent. This one, it's taking a little bit longer on the iteration front. It's a little more complicated. It's kind of one of those things that you think this is all I needed to tell me, but then when it starts to give you the result, you're like, but wait a minute, I'm missing a piece of the story. I need it to tell me one more thing. And so then we go back to Megan and say, we've got to add one more. We got to add one more sort of layer here. And so this one has just gotten a little more complicated, I would say. And the other piece of it is, I think this is where you get, and you saw it on one of the questions that you guys led with, there can be some nervousness that AI is here to take my job. It's here to take work away. And this one is a little more intrusive, meaning we're taking a huge chunk of your time and we're potentially going to have this agent do it. And it's natural to think, well, then what? You know, then does that mean that in 6 months from now, the agent is doing everything, or multiple agents, and am I now at risk? And so I think we had a little bit of that internally. Then it's a little more complicated. And so we are in much better shape now. We're hoping in another 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have a very good readout about how much time it in fact is actually saving us. I think the important lesson with this one in particular is, while at the beginning it felt intrusive, what it winds up being is sort of proving that you still need the human being to be part of the equation, because Sally can't do everything and then make all of the decisions. And so Sally's intended to just hand you these lists of positive you might want to add, negative you might want to take them out, but the human has to still sit there to make the decisions on the yes, no, I need to take these out, put these in, you did the wrong thing, it's a brand term, I need to take that out. You still have to have that component.
I agree 100%. And I think, everyone on this webinar has probably already heard this saying of, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody good at AI is going to take your job. And that's the reality here is once the teams, they get it in their hands and they have an experience where a monotonous task, used to take them 10 times longer, they get used to it and they start to embrace these. But for anyone that's like for the first time hearing of an agent is a scary thing. So navigating that, is one of the most important parts because the technology is here and it's only getting better. So like achieving these goals of efficiency, it's no longer a technology problem, it's a people problem, right? How do you bring this technology into your organizations in a way where it's, maximizing human impact and it's embraced in such a way that it can do that? Yes, the reality is you'll need less people, right? And the hope is you can scale your business without having to hire and take care of the people you have, right? And make it easier for them to do their jobs well. There's other scenarios where it has not been the case. So it's a fear, an organizational thing everyone's going through. You're definitely not alone in that.
Yeah,
So before we get into the demo stuff, there's a question that I actually have top of mind around, we've seen someone on your team has really taken point on the building, the testing, the training, and then the deployment of these agencies. And what are your thoughts? Like, do you see like an agent operations role becoming this new necessary role for an organization that we need to plan and hire for to be successful? Or can this be more of like a decentralized, scrappy approach? What are your thoughts of today and kind of future thinking around that?
yeah. We're on the scrappy approach side of things right now. We are lucky that we had an analytics manager who was very interested and leaned all the way in and then started self-teaching. But again, no background. Like he didn't come with this as background. And he manages the NinjaCat dashboards and reports and all of those things. And so it was sort of a perfect fit. So what I would say is initially find that person on your team who wants a growth and development, who leans heavy into data, who wants to understand AI and who is excited about it. It should be exciting. Like we should be excited about this. I use AI in various ways throughout my day just to take things off of me that I don't really feel like doing. And then I can focus on the areas that I want to do. It's so find someone, give them a growth and development opportunity, let them get in. Megan and the team at NinjaCat are wonderful and there to help and teach and iterate and back and forth and bouncing ideas off of. We meet with Megan weekly to kind of go through, here's where we're running into trouble. We have no SQL experience anywhere in the team, and you don't have to have it. And we're doing pretty good. And I think maybe long term, if it gets to the point where you have an enormous amount of agents and now agents are working with agents to do a string of things, maybe then you need to hire someone who already has that background. But I think it's a very easy grassroots, get in there, start to use it, get your feet wet, see how far you can go with it, because the way that NinjaCat, you all have set this up, it's pretty easy to learn how to do. It's not like you're coding, you're not doing any of those things. It's not nearly as complicated as I would have thought 6 months.
And it's only getting as well. We've been building the agent builder agent, which is interesting, Bob, who's now in beta as well. So it's the skill set, of, is it prompt engineering? It's like, probably not anymore, because now we have agents that build agents that, given a goal, we'll go ahead and do the best practice around prompt engineering. It'll write the SQL for you, which we do in NinjaCat today. But I think from an organization, I think you're right today. It's like hard to justify a role if you haven't experienced the value of these agents yet. So it's kind of, who are some of the early adopters, innovators that, as you said, just want to experiment, and then once they experience that, or once you experience it, I do believe many organizations, larger organizations, there probably is this new agent ops role, very much like we don't bring in a CRM without a sales operations person that can manage the technology, all the stakeholders, what dashboards they need, all these things as well. So I do see that as a potential new role, and it's again less about prompt engineering and more around the the project management, if you will, the stakeholder management of organizing, knowing what status are these things, are they being trained, are they ready to deploy, how do we then train the teams on how to use these? So, but yeah, you got to start somewhere, and the place to start is just find some of the pirates on the team that love to go and try some experiments and get started. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, Mindy, you're amazing. You've been amazing to work with. Stick around if you don't mind. I want to just show everyone in NinjaCat what it's like to build an agent. And one of the places I'm actually going to start is we talked about search query Sally that you were thinking of. And one of, I think, the challenges there is when you try to build an agent that does too much, right, then it becomes not great at anything. So as we found throughout the betas that we ran with our customers here is that the best practice is to build agents that are specialists, not generalists, that are able to complete a very specific task. So they have a specific set of data context, they have a specific set of instructions that they should follow. And the more you make these specialists versus generalists, again, you more get to that aha moment. So I'm actually going to, for everyone, take search query Sally and decompose it into one specific task, which is negative keyword optimization. So we're going to build something called Negative Nancy. But before we get to that, Jake, I think as I prepare to share my screen, we got one more poll you want to do there?
Oh, did you want to do the poll?
You could do it. Go do it. Let's get a poll.
Well, I mean, why not? I just want to ask one more question after everybody's been inspired by this actual story. And I like Mindy's quotes. It's easy. You better be ready for that easy work. What are the primary motivations for your agency to integrate AI? I mean, hey, it's very clear. There is a very clear winner. We're talking about augmenting and scaling our team's capabilities, almost like they listened to what we just said. So Paul, I'll pass it off to you, man. Do you want to steal the share, and then you can.
Before I share, just share the next screen if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
Before I go into the demo, so since you're in full screen, so I'm going to jump into a demo now, but I want to explain the ingredients that go into these transformative agents that you're able to build in NinjaCat right now, and we call it MTTD: models, tools, techniques, and data. So models, that is, the GPT-4s, the Claude. These are the large language models that are synthetic intelligence of the entire internet. Like they've literally been trained on the entire internet. And they are reasoning enabled, right? Which is wild. They can come up with a plan and they have these chain of thought capabilities. But once these models are given a goal, they'll come up with a plan. Okay, I need to go dig through this data to find the answer to that question, for example. Once they come up with a plan, they then need to act against that plan. And then that's where the concept of tools come into the AI. What are the set of tools needed to act against that plan? And there's many things depending on what the task the agent is doing. The first one is data retrieval. Negative Nancy, as I'll show you we built today, Negative Nancy's going to go find potentially wasteful spend digging through the Google search terms report. So there needs to be like a natural language to SQL. How do I translate this question into the structured query language, the SQL that'll go into the database and find the relevant data to bring into the context window to answer the question. Other types of tools is image generation, right? If we want to build an agent that can help us build ad creatives, video generation, we'll show you an agent today that can both write code, execute the code, deploy the code, right? So those are sets of tools or actions that they can take. We just released this week new tools where these agents can go out and either one, scrape an individual website, a landing page as additional context to bring into its task, as well as another tool to do web research utilizing Perplexity there. And then there's, of course, other tools like having it send an email, having it make a phone call, and where we're even evolving to in NinjaCat is a set of tools that can go beyond the insights and recommendations, but to the next level of once it makes an insight and recommendation saying, would you like me to add these negative keywords, to be able to say, yes, please go ahead. So a set of actions, very Zapier-like of Google Ads, add negative keywords, Google Ads, pause campaign, if you understand what I'm speaking about there. And then the other, the true differentiator here is I love seeing the poll we took earlier of like content was like 6%. Everyone was like data analytics. So everyone started with content. It's just such an easy thing. You can do most of that stuff in ChatGPT. The really hard stuff, the data and analytics, is how do you bring in that data context? This not just the unstructured data chat your PDF, but like we have a data warehouse that might have hundreds and hundreds of tables across hundreds or thousands of customers. How do we interrogate that data and bring it in the right way to have just the right context for the task we're trying to do here? So data is the true differentiator, which we'll get in today, both with your first-party data, your third-party data, as well as any open or public data sets that might exist. And then the techniques is really how we bring that all together. And we'll show you today the concepts of like agent training. Some people do model fine tuning, and then we'll talk about this agent orchestration where, these agents that we have already today call in sub agents to do code interpreting, for example. And then we'll give you a sneak peek of what we're super excited about at the end of this, the most exciting part of the demo, Maggie, or what we call marketing AGI. So I'm going to take the screen share and we'll jump into it. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Place current share. Share sound. Okay, can I just get a confirmation that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so it all starts with data, that data context, right? So if we want to build Negative Nancy, an agent that is an expert in digging through the Google Ads search terms data and finding potential wasteful spend, we need to make sure she has that data context. So in NinjaCat, we have our data cloud that allows you to go through any of our hundreds of integrations, any of the native connectors, or any custom data that might be coming in from a Google Sheet, your own cloud data warehouses. And we know that Negative Nancy is going to need to specifically have access to that search query performance data set. That's going to give us the dimensions that we need, like what was the search term, right? And then what were the performance metrics associated with it. So that's one of the gist of getting the data in. We make it really easy in NinjaCat with our data cloud. Choose any source, choose those streams of data, and those get turned into what we call data sets. Once we have those data sets available in our system, if we go over to the AI agent module, I'm going to go pick Nancy here as an easy start. All right, so Negative Nancy, we'll go edit Negative Nancy. So one, we just released last week our agent builder. Internally, we call it Bob, right? Bob says like, what's the goal of this agent? And then we'll just start walking you through. You probably want this data set and ask some clarifying questions to crystallize the prompt and select the right data sets for you. But I want to show you what that steps actually look like manually and where we started and a lot of what the experience was with CMG. So number one is once you name your agent, which is a very important thing. As Mindy knows, that weighing creates buy-in. People get excited about the name and what does she do? So we love the name Negative Nancy, who's a specialist at adding negative keywords. We need to make sure that Negative Nancy has access to that Google Ads, Google search query performance data set. Now, our agents are unrestricted in terms of how many data sets. It could be one or multiple data sets as part of their context there. And then after you choose the data, we need to give a set of instructions to the agent, right? So in this scenario here, the job of Nancy is to go find potentially underperforming or irrelevant keywords that should be added to the negative keyword list. So this one actually was using our new agent builder, and we told our agent builder what was the goal of Negative Nancy, and then it chose the right data set, and then it automatically built this prompt for us. So a human did not have to write this, and I'm sure CMG will be excited because this just came out this week. Before this, it was, banging on the prompts, constantly trying this and that and trying to do best practices. So we took all those learnings, put them into our build experience where you could literally just chat in this agent builder experience. It'll find the data set and then build the prompts for you, and then you could preview it on the right-hand side here. So the concept here, though, is it has a specific set of steps that it's telling the agent, right, to go through, look through the data, look at these date ranges. This is how you should present the data to the user, for example. And then that end user experience is as simple as this. If somebody comes into Negative Nancy, right, they can come in and say, do your thing for Coca-Cola. Now we could just say, do your thing. We don't have to write a prompt of looking for, negative keywords, because Negative Nancy's system prompt already knows what her single task is. Go dig through this data, find the potentially wasteful spend, and come up with a list of negative keywords. So in this scenario here, do your thing for Coca-Cola. Another important thing in the agency environment is building agents that can scale across, hundreds or potentially thousands of customers. You don't want to build a individual agent for every customer, because again, you might already have hundreds or thousands of variations of agents. So a key tool that NinjaCat has is your data set might have all customers in it. So it'll filter out to a specific customer, in this case, Coca-Cola, even though that data set might, again, have hundreds or thousands of customers in it. We'll then go rip through, find the right customer that we want to run the negative keywords for. And then we'll go ahead and execute against that data set, the search query performance, run the query that the agent builder prompted to go find keywords that match this specific criteria, these performance metrics, and then it returns a result here. So here we have a list of potentially irrelevant search terms that we can then go add as negative keywords. That's a very basic concept. More advanced use cases here is something such as media mix marry, right? So some people on this call here may have experience with media mix models, but one of the most hardest tests you can do, just building a data set, cleaning the data set, then you got to build the model, rate the model, do lag effect analysis, requires Python. We have an agent here called media mix marry, who has access to this data set that you're able to build in the data cloud of the spend by day for the last 2 years across all different channels and tactics. And then we're giving that data set to marry here. And so in your media mix marry, expert data scientist, especially in media mix modeling, excels in tasks such as budget allocation, ROI analysis, what steps to follow, the 5 specific steps to follow, and some important steps when she does the media mix modeling. And then the result of that is we could say go, include 0 days lag effect. We could see the plan that she's going to go ahead and execute. She's going to go rip through that data set of the performance across those different channels for the last 24 months, and then execute what her second step was, which was to do a lagged effect analysis, right? Because when you spend money on TV versus radio versus a bottom of funnel Google search campaign, you might see a statistically significant difference from channel to channel of day 0 impact, right? We spend money today, we see impact today. We spend money on a billboard, we might see the impact X days later. So that's an important element to inform the media mix model. So it's going ahead, it's calling in its sub-agent. So this is that orchestration layer. A sub-agent, we have our own custom code interpreter that can go and execute Python to do all the data science regression type stuff needed for any of these steps here. And then it's just summarizing the results of all that Python work up to the parent agent here. And here we have a nice lagged effect analysis, both in chart form as well as tabular form, right? And then we're saying proceed. We want to feed that into the model. So the next step, it's going to go ahead and build a media mix model. Again, you could see all the regression, the Bayesian work that it's doing here to verify it. And then it is going to go ahead, build the model, rate the model. As we're seeing here, it's rated as 89, which is quite good. And then it's going to summarize it to the user, right? So this is the output of a media mix model, what's called a coefficient, which tells us for every $1 that we're spending on this campaign, we're making $2.50. However, for these display ads, we might be losing as much as 3.5 cents for every $1 that we spend. And then it automatically goes, because it was instructed to do so, to use Python to do a diminishing returns analysis for each channel, and then get to a simulation, right? So what? We want to know, where should we shift budgets? And in this scenario here, it's telling us that after the simulation, all that context above, the model, the diminishing returns analysis, and running a simulation, it's saying that if we were to increase budget by 20% for these high-performing, high-coefficient channels and decrease by 20% from these channels, this advertiser could potentially see a lift of $500,000, right? So that's a more advanced use case, but just showing the true capabilities of these agents and how the models, tools, techniques, and data can come together. In addition to doing data analytics and insights, content generation, image generation, another cool one that we built is one called the AI App Data Creator. So let me go into this one, right? So this app is designed to build custom dashboards in Python and Streamlit, which is a front-end library. So Python is the data science language, capable of doing all types of crazy stuff, predictions, and then Streamlit is a nice front-end library to add a front-end to Python projects. So we can tell this agent, please build a campaign and keyword exploration app. That's all we're telling it. This agent knows all the data it has access to, all the data sets in the data cloud. And then it's coming up with a plan. It's saying, okay, to build you a campaign and keyword exploration app, here's the plan, the metrics, the dimensions, and the features, right? And it's highlighting, these are the dimensions, these are the KPIs, these are some of the features like filtering, date ranges that you're going to want on this thing. And we can say, no, well, you should also include this, also include, this type of functionality. But I'm just first pass, build me a campaign keyword exploration app. I like the plan. I'm saying go ahead and do it. It then goes ahead, it writes all the Python code, adds a Streamlit front-end UI to it. So writes the code, containerizes, so which means it's actually taking this code, packaging it up, and then deploying it as its own dedicated application here. And the result of that is this. I click on that link and I'm brought into this Python dashboard that we willed into existence with no coding knowledge. It has campaign performance here. It has keyword performance. If we wanted to add more functionality on the left, additional filtering, benchmarking, we could just ask it to do so. In fact, I'll show you in this scenario here, we said, great, please add interactive n-gram functionality on a new tab. And here it's coming up with a plan, and then it does a revision where this one had campaign and keyword. This is the same one, campaign keyword, but this new functionality that has this interactive n-gram functionality as part of it. Pretty neat, right? So wild world that we're living in here is these agents that can do all types of tasks empowered by the data and the tools to do so. And then one of the things that we're thinking about is, what are the different ways to access these agents? Because again, you can end up with hundreds or potentially thousands of these. There's so many. There's taxonomy, Tina, find all campaigns that find and fix any campaigns that have these taxonomy issues, right? There's ones in here for helping prepare for a call, dig through all the data and help prepare the rep to surface the insights and the recommendations they should discuss on their call. So there's going to be so many of these fine-tuned agents to specific tasks. And we challenge ourselves, say, can we build like an orchestrator agent, like the generalist that sits above all these? That is a generalist, but if we ask a question to it and there's a specialist that knows how to do that job better, it will call that agent in to give the specific fine-tuned answer. So let me show you what we're cooking here, a little sneak peek of an exciting future to come to what we call Maggie or marketing AGI. Gotta be quiet.
Hello there. How's it going?
Great. Can everyone hear Maggie okay? Jake, can you hear Maggie okay?
Yeah.
Loud and clear. Maggie's coming through.
All right. Awesome. Maggie, we just want to show off your capabilities quick. Can you help us dig into sales for the last 12 months?
Absolutely. Let's dive into the sales data for the last 12 months. Give me just a moment. All right, the sales performance data is in. Over the past 12 months, total sales reached 335,000.
Well, can we dig into leads a little bit deeper? Leads for the last 12 months.
Here's the deep dive into the leads data. Over the past 12 months.
Okay, we get the gist here, but before, maybe just Google Ads. Can we look at Google Ads for the last 12 months? Can you explain what you're seeing? Any insights?
Absolutely. Over the past 12 months with Google Ads, we've had a total of 80,018.
Okay, we get the idea. We're running short on time, so I hate to cut you short. Maggie, you're the best. I love you. We will talk to you later.
No worries at all. It was great chatting with you. Talk soon.
Talk soon, Maggie. Really exciting. So, that's what we call Maggie or marketing AGI is you can feel the AGI, right? You start to build these agents that complete a task, and then there's these orchestrator agents that you can ask a question to, and they can answer the question and work with their teammates. And our vision, for Maggie is exactly as we state here. There's going to be an AI assistant / agent for almost everything. They're going to evolve from these tools into what feel, to be your teammates. They'll participate in your Zoom meetings, and they're going to creatively fulfill tasks with minimal supervision, right? They still need that supervision like Mindy talked about, and they're going to automate the monotonous while amplifying the meaningful. So super exciting stuff. And since we have a couple minutes here, I want to make sure that we can do some QA. Jake, did we get any questions?
For sure we did. Let me just go to my fancy slide. We got one from Krista Vestman. How do you leverage or merge the data sets of, say, Google ad spend and true client data, i.e. beyond just the platform Pixelfire, in case there are offline data metrics that need to be factored in? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, one, just getting access to that data. So if you're using NinjaCat, you can connect to any of those sources directly or bring in that, custom data via any one of our smart connectors. Could be Google Sheets, you could email in data, you connect to a CRM like Salesforce, for example. So once you have those data sets, just the data being pulled into NinjaCat, the merging of those data sets, the joining between them, if you will, could be achieved in many ways. One, you could just bring in the individual data sets into the agent and just tell it, I have two data sets here. This data set contains this data set and you just explain it. And the agent will take whatever instructions it has and dynamically build the SQL and actually save that SQL into the prompt of the agent so it knows how to consistently pull the right data every time using basic or advanced SQL transformations to do so. There's other ways if you're going to consistently use that same data set over time, you can use the other part of the data cloud where you could build up pre-made views of this data. But you could just start of don't overthink it, get your raw data sets in and just tell the agent exactly how it should marry that data together.
That's amazing. Yes. And hit on that, keeping the people in. You got to be the human in the loop because you're going to have to touch these things. There's a question for Mindy. Why did CMG choose NinjaCat's platform to build CM360 Pixie instead of developing the tool in-house or using another third-party solution? What specific features or capabilities of NinjaCat's AI agents made it the right choice for the project?
We did not do it in-house because we do not have the people or the ability is the honest answer there. The AI and the agents with NinjaCat was a natural because we were already using NinjaCat for the dashboarding solution. The reason we chose them for the dashboarding solution was because they proved that they would be able to handle the complexities of our business, get everything into one place. And back then we knew that AI was on the cusp with them, and we were interested in that, and we definitely have made the right decision.
Oh, that's nice. Here's another one. What challenges should agencies be prepared for when building and deploying custom AI agents? That's both for Paul, Mindy, whoever.
I think, you got your technology challenges and your people challenges, right? And within each one of those, there's numerous issues that you're going to run into. So it's probably too big of a question to answer. On the technology side of things, just again, in like the buy versus build, it is easy to, throw a CSV file into ChatGPT and get sparks of something that's helpful, right? It's hard to scale that out in a secure way to go beyond the limits of context window. So, we started NinjaCat with not the easy stuff. We started with the hard stuff, the structured data. And some of our special sauce there is we have an AI semantic layer. So all those hundreds of integrations, we have what's called the data catalog. And we know how all these fields are related to each other. And that level of context that we're able to give to the agents enable us to make the job of building them easier and make the consistency and quality of the outputs that much better than if you were to try to hack this stuff together on your own. And then there's the whole people side of it, which I think is best reserved. We will plan another webinar to further, take our findings, our lessons learned, and help others navigate, some of the trip hazards on that front.
Mindy, do you want to add one more thing about those challenges or thoughts that maybe people should anticipate if they're thinking about doing this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think the people part is probably, I mean, the technical is the technical. You're going to have a wide range, or you most likely will, depending on the size of your agency or staff, or some people go all in, and some people kind of dig their heel in a little bit. And so you have to be empathetic, you have to be patient, you have to let the people that want to run, and do that. And we have found that someone's peer telling them really good things and this is why you should do it resonates much better than boss trying to push down this is a great thing, you should do it. And so if you can get buy-in from a couple of people doing the work, better results.
Well, that almost sounded like marketing for a minute there. You're like, uh-oh, the word of mouth actually works. That is brilliant. What a great way to end this. We will have a recording of all this. You can get the key takeaways. What we want to do is just wrap it up. Certain questions that we didn't get to, we will answer them. But what we're going to do, we're going to send you a recording of this. And if you're interested in AI agents, you can reach out if you're an existing customer to your CSM. New folks, just come get a demo. And then if you want to send Paul an email, because he loves getting emails, there's his email right there. So you can ask those really kind of in the weeds questions there. But I just wanted to say thank you so much to Mindy, because a lot of people, you know, AI agents, it's coming, it's coming. No, it's here. And it's amazing to see what easy work went into building this amazing, very task-oriented and helpful AI agent. So thank you so much. And thanks,
Yes,
Paul.
thank
And
you.
thanks,
Of
everybody,
course.
for showing up.
And before we hang up, just one more slide. If you go back to the key takeaways, I
Sure.
would hope that there's three main things that, you know, everyone took from this is that, you know, think about those buckets of how do we think about agents, right? It's not just content generation. Think of them in a broader bucket of in which ways could agents help us make money, right? Save money, mitigate risk, and then think about, you know, a job, and a job is a bundle of tasks, and then break down the task. We actually created an agent in NinjaCat that can help you think through, given a job role, what are agents that you could build that would work well versus not so well. So we can help you think through that as well. And then this concept of thinking about specialist versus general. So I think that's really important depending on your experience with AI. If you get too ambitious and you try to build something that's too general, you're not going to get amazing outputs. The more fine-tuned you build these agents to complete a specific task repeatedly in a high quality way, the higher quality outputs you're going to get there. And then the last thing is that you just, you know, not to fearmonger, but you got to move fast, right? This is a time on the train, on the tracks. There was the great, you know, invention, and this is a period of the great experimentation, which a lot of people are going through. And then the great implementation is coming in 2026. And those that are using this technology are going to leave the others in the dust. So, you know, move fast, but start small, right? Just start with a small experiment like CMG hit. Let's run some experimentation, set aside an experimentation budget, if you will, for the next couple of months, and pick out, you know, an agent that can help you make money, save money, mitigate risk, prove it out in a small way. And then of course, from there, you can scale it out into the art of the possible, as we talk about. So yeah, thanks everyone so much for joining us. And any way you can help, really email me. I love this stuff. If you can't tell, do not hesitate. Mindy knows I could talk about AI and agents forever, but don't want to make anyone later than they already are for the next meeting.
All right. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.